Doctor, it seems I have an eyeball brain. It's been a while and we haven't landed on, or so much as seen land up here. Should we dive and save our stamina?
Andy, the trailers wouldn't lie to us.
Again.
There's gotta be a plethora of lands to explore up here. It was heavily featured, highlighted even. We were led to believe there was a lot up here to find and explore.
Where?
Somewhere soon, I'm sure.
Forgot to warn you. There's probably about a dozen in the sky ever, but look out for the Auralphos! That's what they are. Aracuda is a stupid and wrong name.
Well, I ran out of the extremely limiting stamina meter and I'm now plummeting to my death. Coincidentally, it's time for a rapid review rundown for the first half of 2023. So let's get the intro done before I die. Quick refresher of our rules for this: we only include games we've played a significant portion of or beaten, that released so far this year, and that we haven't already reviewed separately. That'll do it. Let's go ahead and begin!
Why don't we start somewhere different for us? A rhythm game, which means QuickTime events galore. If you like QuickTime events, even if you're not rhythmically gifted, this is the game for you.
Hi-Fi Rush is a game about this bumbling fool named Chai who wants to be a rock star. So he signs up for what he thinks is a program to do so, unknowingly giving his life and body in service of some dark forces. Unfortunately, the iPod, generic music player serendipitously saves his life and is implanted in his heart. Now the world operates according to the beat of the music player.
Things bop and pop to the beat of the music nearby. Enemies react and attack to the beat of the music, and you must strike to the beat of the tunes to make your attacks mean anything. So does Chai control the world now? Does everything else hear the music that is playing? Is that why everything jerks and jumps to the beat? Even bosses fall prey to the simmered tunes Chai has playing in his head and his heart.
Simmered tunes is right because I had to play this game in streamer mode, which removes any music that could have copyrighted material in it for these fine tunes. They convey the tension of the moments in battle okay, but I feel like I'm missing something that would have made these battles more fun.
Music is not the problem here. It's the fact that you suck at rhythm-based games that makes this unfun.
Fuck you! That's true. You're a dick! But you're right.
Yeah. With the game heavily relying on sticking to the tempo, your attacks, movements, dodges, special attacks, and the side character's powers will fall flat if you miss the timing. It can get infuriating, specifically during boss battle sections that boil down to one-on-one standoffs, where missing a beat causes you to repeat entire sections of the fight. QuickTime events can eat it when they do this.
Hi-Fi Rush is an okay game with a bouncy art style and very linear levels. You'll enjoy it if you enjoy rhythm games. This was not our cup of tea. Badass halberd wielding lady with transformations into different armors, each of which equipped with different colors, looks, and powers.
I think you skipped a few steps.
Oh. 9 Years of Shadows is pretty great. This game centers around a curse that stole the world's color and infected it with a darkness that kills people too. You'll put on the epic, adventurous boots of Europa as she explores the huge castle sectioned into different areas with over a dozen bosses, tons of enemies, and musicians to rescue.
One thing I really appreciate in this game are damage numbers. Unfortunately, they are completely useless because nothing has a health bar.
Hey, bosses get more red when they're close to death.
That solves the issue with damage numbers.
I sense sarcasm.
Do you?
If you can look past meaningless damage numbers and the bullet hell final boss, this game is excellent. The exploration is interesting and familiar, the combat is intense and dynamic, and the many bosses you can fight all have their own reasons to like and hate them. They even change up their tactics halfway through the fight. I have a personal favorite of the two goo girls, and a personal burning hot fucking rage for Miria.
There's even an interesting take on the HP system in this game. Instead of an HP meter, you replenish and lose bits of a light meter. Depleting the entire meter requires you to refill it, which you can via hugging a Pino, the best healing mechanic, or defeating an enemy. If you take damage after the meter is empty, these crystals will disappear instead. You only have that many hits after the bar is gone to heal yourself or replenish any portion of the meter. Using the red and blue collectibles, you can get more crystals or extend the light meter respectively. It's actually a fun little system once you master the quick refill ability.
Highly recommend this game. Very good story, excellent exploration elements, and an actual conclusion that doesn't open it up for a sequel. This is a great little package that I will definitely be buying again when it comes to the Switch.
Wow. It is not a good sign that I totally forgot this came out, let alone that we played this year.
This incredibly forgettable adventure paints itself as the spiritual successor to Battle for Bikini Bottom, but fails to capture the humor, the quality, and most importantly, the fun. The similarities are undeniable, what with level traversal, the different characters with different tasks for you to complete, and the golden spatulas, which literally serve as achievement bait instead of any meaningful purpose.
This platforming adventure game has you unlock and put on the various costumes of SpongeBob SquarePants. Not only him, but a balloon-fused version of his buddy Patrick Star follows him around the game as well. They'll travel the many levels of this game, which act as different universes, to save one specific version of their friends. Which makes no sense. What dictates which version they save? Why not save each version in each universe? Why do bosses in this game lack depth and stakes? So many questions!
Cosmic Shake is a bad game. The quality is clearly missing. It tries to guide you back to levels you thought you completely explored by unlocking new collectible quests as soon as you finish them. You seem to cause more problems than you solve, and the ending is absolutely useless. This is just a poor game. Coco Cucumber's action RPG is finally fucking out, and I cannot wait to tell you about it.
What's it about?
After the player character, who you can name,
Horizontal Anus. That is a lot of characters you used for something dumb.
Moves into a distant family member's home, you discover a mirror and are immediately sucked into the world beyond it. Thus begins an adventure that will change the player character's life forever. Receive the title of Ravenlock, find your sword and shield, and meet the voxelated characters and enemies of this new world.
It looks like you explore different areas consisting of forests, gardens, mansions, and dungeons as you fight through waves of enemies with some combo-less combat. Simply mash the attack button until enemies fall. Press it fast enough and enemies won't have a chance to attack. They'll react to the first 3 or 4 hits, then decide to attack, so prepare to dodge. Wait, is this a stamina meter?
This only depletes if enemies strike you while guarding, otherwise it's completely ignorable. It's the perfect version of a stamina meter. Most attacks are avoidable and you can stock up very easily on healing items if you feel like a punching bag.
It sounds like this game has a lot of the best versions of different mechanics that most games mess up. Great attacks and an ignorable stamina meter? Excellent.
And the story is complete. This is another complete package with the only drawbacks being some of the puzzle mechanics and the final boss again. Otherwise, this is another excellent game that we highly recommend.
What in the fresh Zonai is this title, James?
This is a title I will never pronounce right. Channel your inner love of modern and classic Castlevania in this very short platforming adventure game that puts a new twist on the vampire hunting game genre. Unique bosses and gameplay that you can make fun with 8 direction attacks or unplayable in classic Castlevania single direction attack mode.
It looks like it has a fun art style too.
It does. You should all check out this game before the next game in this title series comes out. It's a good one. The second best Kirby game on the Nintendo Wii gets the remaster, remake, enhanced remake, port, enhanced port, there are simply too many words for this, treatment on the Nintendo Switch. The adventure returns and brings the 4 iconic playable characters with updated designs, movesets, and challenges to conquer.
Take on the classic adventure that everyone loved, then take it on again in the useless harder mode, then take on the extremely short epilogue featuring Magolor and what happened after he was defeated by Kirby, then take on the arena modes which unlock the ability to play them again with any of the 4 playable characters you want, which makes absolutely no sense. After you've cleared the adventure modes, given Magolor the conclusion he wants, and beaten the arena modes, you can enter Merry Magoland!
This majestic magical area is chock full of minigames to play both with and without your friends. Old favorites like Crackety Hack, Bomb Rally, Samurai Kirby, Checkerboard Chase, Egg Catcher, Kirby on the Draw, Ninja Dojo, and Smash Ride return to your screens. If you're looking for new fun, look no further than Booming Blasters, Magolor's Tome Trackers, and Samurai Kirby 100.
Each of these minigames will test your reflexes in different difficulties, with more that unlock as you collect stamps in the stamp system. Every minigame you play in Merry Magoland yields you an amount of stamps. Returning to the main area in Magoland will spend your stamps on stamp cards, which, when filled, will yield rewards such as food, which can be used in the adventure and arena modes, and masks. Equipping masks it's Kirby with a mask. Sometimes it changes the noise he makes when he does stuff, which you can barely hear anyway.
If you've filled all the stamp cards, beaten all the modes, and collected each difficulty for each minigame, and are still wondering why you haven't beaten the game 100%, that's because you haven't completed the achievements.
Yep. Achievements! Arbitrarily inflated difficulty that makes harder modes harder for no reason other than pins that only you can see and enjoy. Gaming! Some of these are absolute insanity, and we gave up on getting each one. Specifically the egg-catching one.
Oh, have a second controller handy for some of these because you may need some stand-still punching bags to complete some of the achievements.
There's a lot to do in this deluxe port of Kirby, but it's also quite a lot of fat. It's not very nutritious compared to the main adventure mode, which is still the same length and only slightly improved with the extra powers, better graphics, and the very brief epilogue. But it's enough to justify the second purchase, in my opinion. Take on the role of Delta in this 3D Mega Man-like through several levels of very samey environments. Fight a handful of repetitive enemies that appear halfway through platforming puzzles, then get ready for bosses that will cramp your fingers like nothing else.
This Kickstarted adventure game takes on all the inspiration from Mega Man games, except the fun gameplay and more than a few glitches, specifically when moving parts are involved. If you time your revive wrong...
Revive? Like coming back to life?
Yes. If you time that wrong, you simply cannot complete some platforming puzzles. Then you have to retry again from your last checkpoint, hoping all platforms appear with the player in mind. Honestly, this game is not very good. Beyond the glitches that make it hard to play, enemies that appear during high-stress platforming situations, and the collectible tribute armors that mean nothing to Kickstarter backers because we have codes to unlock them, making the 10 coins in each level worthless, this game's music is fucking great. My fingers may have cramped up too much because accessibility options weren't available at the time of writing this, but I enjoyed every second of music in this game. Makes me very glad I donated to the tier that got me the soundtrack.
Because soundtracks make the game, right? Oh well, let's move on. Tales of Symphonia is a story about fighting destiny, defying fate, taking on way too much responsibility, and realizing things are never how they seem. Your adventure spans 2 worlds, hundreds of characters, thousands of things to do, and one spectacular narrative about acceptance, growing up, and different perspectives. In just over 60 hours, you'll have a nearly complete monster index that teaches you the weaknesses of bosses and baddies you've encountered. You'll craft weapons with attributes that allow you to rip through mobs of enemies. You may have even collected the 9 Devil's Arms and are powering yourself up to take on Abyssion.
Of course, we're referring to the original GameCube release of this game.
No we're not. We're talking about every version of this game. Even this abysmally optimized, lag-addled bargain bin port of the game. Certainly, most of the game has survived the emulations of emulations of emulations they've shamelessly refused to improve as they've reported this game over the decades, but this is the worst of them. It lags during world travel, there's an eye-straining white flash when battles begin, menu and skit displays were made to look worse, and the casino.
The thing American audiences have been waiting so long for!
It's in the Chronicles version on the PS3.
Stuff it, carrot fingers!
Oh. Ow.
This is meant to be the most complete version of the game. All DLC included, all costumes, all extra modes and battles and enemies and everything. But the casino sucks, enemies regularly T-pose on the overworld, and this is just shit. It's crap.
Very much. So if you want the best version of this game, you'll want to put aside a bunch of money. Why? GameCubes are rather inexpensive, but the GameCube version of this game is not. Oh, you'll need a controller or 2 as well. That's about $800, right?
What? 800?
Yeah. For the best experience, you need that gorgeous teal Tales of Symphonia GameCube. What else would you play this on? Some unteal peasant GameCube? Gross. Yuck. Ew!
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, you're right. That is the only way. If you really want to know our thoughts on this game, go ahead and give our Breath of the Wild review a rewatch.
Hardy har. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the sequel to and extension of the Wild version of the Zelda series. One that embraces the stagnant, unimpressive, and often boring mechanics of open-world games, often to the detriment of things like the story, which sucks, gameplay, which barely improved, and the fun, which is in staggeringly short supply.
Open world games are not our favorites, and the Zelda series is a pile of games we will always feel excitement toward. But no matter how hard we try, there's no fun to be had in this game. With the worst tutorial, the physics degree you need to understand most puzzles and challenges, and the other terrible systems already included from the prequel, Tears of the Kingdom is just another game that fits the mold.
On the subject of puzzles, one thing this game will draw both ire and intrigue from is the several ways you can solve shrines. Just in case you don't know, you can use your fused weapon in shrines, but you can't bring out Zonai devices within them. Equip yourself with a rocket shield before entering, and be sure to have a few arrows and bombs handy. And most puzzles will fall to your ingenuity.
Or your lack thereof, according to the internet.
Rocket shields will bring you high into the sky, at which point you can fly across gaps. Bomb arrows will activate most giant switches, which are usually reserved for giant spheres of hard material. The shields and bomb arrows you equip yourself with will save you a world of trouble later in the game when you use the spirit orbs you acquire to gain more hearts and stamina meter.
Fuck the stamina meter.
For those of you excited by trailers, this is a massive spoiler for you, but not as much of the game occurs in the sky as the trailers will have you believe. Sure, you'll spend the full 7-hour tutorial in the sky, but beyond that, your only real drives skyward are dungeons and extra shrines. That's only about 1/32nd of what the game offers, even even if you are a dungeon hunter or a shrine-hungry completionist.
We decided against granting Tears of the Kingdom its own video because there's not much new to say about it. It's more Breath of the Wild. So much more, they took it, inverted it, and made the depths. Only you have none of the powers from the first game that were made to explore and conquer it, making the game feel longer and harder because you remember how useful Revali's Gale was, how important Mipha's Grace was, or how there Urbosa's Fury was. Lucky you! This is Tears of the Kingdom, the future of the Zelda series. So look forward to more awful stories, more physics degrees you'll need to get, and a further detachment for what made Zelda unique and fun. I've been falling the whole time! Still falling! It's a very long fall! Who knew there was this much empty as fuck sky to be unexplored and bored by? Alright, thanks for watching everyone! What'd you think of the games in our rapid review rundown? Let us know in the comments! Be sure to follow us for more and share this video! Alright, see you next time. Oh shit, the ground!